Alright, here we go. This video should apply to pretty much anything with a hydrostatic transmission, but as you guys can tell, we're working with a John Deere. We got it up in the air. If you're wondering how I got it up in the air, have the crane, stay tuned. We're going to set it down later, but this is going to be pretty fast paced, so here we go. There's a guide on the back of the transmission. It's a 15 millimeter headed guide, and it is a beep to get to. You can see why we're replacing this traction belt here. You can see all the cracks in the top here as we just pointed out there. But this guide, as you can tell, is kind of a booger. And once I get it loose to where I can actually get it with my hands, I'll reach to the back of it and finger spin that thing loose, as if we kind of zoomed in here. Once you have that guide out, it makes it a lot easier to get this belt off. Next, we're going to release our tension spring. This spring, I use a mower string, as you can tell, and I'm going to slow up here as I release the spring from the frame. I know my camera angles and my camera sucks. Sorry, we're still new to YouTube. We're going to do better. But yeah, take some mower string, wrap around the string around the spring, and then yeah, release it from the groove, and you'll see how it releases, and we can wiggle our idlers back and forth now and release belt tension. Now that we have belt tension released, I'm going to go ahead and free up the idlers before releasing the belt. It just makes life a little easier and frees up belt tension. Watch out for dust if you're up in the air. You don't have to have your machine up in the air like we have this one. It does make it easier. You can put it on car ramps, whatever you want to use. But yeah, that's not mandatory. I've done this on flat ground before. As you can tell, I reached to the back of the transmission. I spun the belt around the fan just to release it. On this particular model, we do have to release the steering, which you're going to see here. The gear's kind of a booger to get off sometimes. I'm going to use a pry bar, pry it right off. This will knock the steering off center. We're going to go over centering it when on reinstallation later in this video. But as you can tell, I just used the pry bar to get that gear off. Not too big deal. You can use a regular screwdriver or a flat-headed screwdriver. I call them regulars, but whatever. Before I release the clutch, or the PTO clutch here, I'm going to reach up and get the wiring undone first. That way we're not dangling it from the wires. I'm still, like I said, new to YouTube, so I did not get a good angle of the plug-in, but it's basically a black plug-in on top of your PTO clutch. And you can see it's going to have a little prong on it. I released mine with an orange screwdriver, as you can see earlier in the video just a second ago, and the plug will slide right off. And then I use an impact gun to release the clutch bolt. It's a 5/8 and 95% of them, 5/8 headed bolt. And you will want to use some blue Loctite when reassembling this back on later. So I release the drive pulley at this point, and boom, there's our belt. You can see here how cracked this thing is. I'm going to show you guys in just